I was forced to make the ugliest game I've ever made, and it's completely my own fault. You see, a couple of weeks ago I made this game where I had to try and actually develop a game, except I wasn't allowed to add anything to it that I hadn't first bought from a shop. So for example, when I wanted to add a dash, I had to first buy the dash feature. And the reason I did this was to stop myself from overthinking, reducing my options from being able to add literally anything I could think of to just a couple of randomized features. And this worked really well. I both enjoyed making that game a lot, and I didn't struggle with the over-scoping and perfectionism that I normally do. And so obviously I wanted to do it again, but this time I got really unlucky. You see, everything in the shop has to be bought with coins, and the way you get those coins is by drawing cards, with every card having some kind of restriction or challenge on it. And last time this went really well. I was able to fit all of the cards into the game fairly easily. However, this time I got the worst card I could have possibly drawn, which was, the game has to look terrible. Now, for some people this would have actually been a relief. For me, this was torture. I've always been someone who cares way too much about how their game looks, and I've literally cancelled more games than I can count just because I couldn't make them look good. But this time that wasn't an option, and I had to push through. So here's me making the ugliest game I'll ever make, entirely against my will. Wish me luck. Alright, so here we are in the actual game, and I've got my fingers crossed that we get some good luck, but there's only one way to find out, which is to click to start. Alright, for our first shop we have health for 5 coins, trigger collisions for 10 coins, and jump, which is also 10 coins. Now these two are clearly the better ones. Like, having a health system can be important, but having trigger collisions and having a jump is way more crucial. But obviously currently we have 0 coins, so we can't buy any of this, and the only thing we can really do is draw a card. Game must follow the theme money. Okay, that's interesting. I have no ideas yet, but I feel like I could do some interesting stuff with that. Which means we now have 10 coins. Now I could just go and buy one of these things, but I prefer buying both in one go, so let's draw another card. Game must follow the theme laboratory. Reward 10 coins. Okay, so immediately what I'm thinking of right now is we have a laboratory where we make some kind of potions and we then sell those for money. Basically like Lab Tycoon or something like that. I'm not saying we're doing that, but I think that fits like perfectly with these two themes. But that also gives us 10 coins, which means we now have 20. And so I think I'm just going to go ahead and buy both of these features because they're both really good. Now, because I do think trigger collisions is a little bit better, I am going to buy that one first. And that gives us obstacle art. Okay, not terrible, but jump is definitely better, so let's buy that one as well. And that gives us an extra shop slot. Okay, so I genuinely think that this is the best thing you can get in the entire shop, because it just allows us to buy more features. So I definitely want to buy this one as well. So that means we have to draw yet another card. Game must include a sad worm cooking something. Alright, we gotta make a worm, they're gonna be sad, and they're gonna be cooking something. Now, I will say, in this context, the immediate thing I'm thinking of is cooking meth, which I don't even know if I can say that in a YouTube video, let alone put it in a game. So we'll probably just make it cook something else, but that does seem like really funny if we have just like a random worm cooking meth. Which, like, I might have to censor that word even. Like, I don't know YouTube's regulations. Anyway, the reward is 15 coins, but we don't get it unless we actually go and make it. So let's go make a sad worm cooking something. Okay, and here's the worm I drew. Now, I want you to ignore this. This is not drugs of any kind. It's just like random laboratory flask thing. It's not drugs, I promise. It doesn't even look like drugs. It's just like a random liquid, okay? Random liquid, not drugs. Or it could be like medical drugs. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Anyway, the worm is very sad, as you can see by the sad face. I think it looks pretty decent. Like, it looks a bit slimy with a bit of highlights. I think the flame looks quite nice, but if we're actually putting it to the game, I do think it's good if it's animated. So I made this animation, which is just like the flame going and the bubbles going up. Like, I tried animating the worm as well, but that just looked weird and I don't think we need it. And if I do decide later on that it is indeed necessary, I'll just change the animation. That's no big deal. For now though, I'm really happy with this, which means we can go into the game and actually add it, and I think this looks quite good. I mean, there's no real difference yet because the game is quite empty. As you can see, it's literally just the worm, so it's all just basically the same as looking at it in the animation program, but still, this is actually in the game, which means we've officially added a sad worm cooking something into the game. So we can go and check this off as completed, giving us 15 coins, and I'm just immediately going to buy the shop slot because that's just so good. And for that we get platforming mechanics. Okay, so that could be really good. It is 30 coins, which is quite expensive, but if I'd want to make a platformer, which I don't know yet, this would be really good to have, obviously. And we also got enemy sprites, which could be useful, but honestly with these two cards right now, I'm not even really thinking about making a game with enemies, so we might not even need this. Oh shoot, I was going to point out how much time we have left, but I think the timer might have broken. Let me go fix that real quick. Okay, there we go. We have 45 minutes left, which I think means I'm just going to farm some coins for about 40 minutes, and then when the shop resets, we can buy a bunch of stuff with the coins we have. So let's go draw another card. Game must include a radioactive monster with an umbrella. Okay, the words haven't registered yet, but okay, radioactive monster umbrella doesn't seem too difficult, and I could see that fitting with a laboratory theme, like the monster got radioactive and maybe even became a monster because something spilled or something, so that could be quite interesting. And then they also be like paranoid of things spilling, and that's why they have an umbrella. Oh, it's all coming together. Yeah, that is brilliant. Okay, we'll take that for sure. It's maybe going to be a bit difficult to draw, but I actually quite like that. So let's go make a radioactive monster with an umbrella. Alright, so here's the monster I drew, and I gotta say, I'm really happy with this. I think this looks really quite good. Now the legs could have been a bit better. It's not entirely clear what is going on here. This leg is supposed to be like in the back and this one is supposed to be in front, and it's almost like a kneeling type thing, or almost like a gorilla pose, but that's not entirely clear. This is supposed to be like fat dripping or like just general droopage, and as you can see, he's supposed to be holding something in his hand, which is the umbrella. Now, I gotta say, not a huge fan of the umbrella. Of course, it's supposed to be wonky like this on purpose, because I feel like a dude like this handling an umbrella is gonna break it. And it just looks like it's been handled a bit too roughly. That I don't mind, but I just think that maybe the colors are wrong, or maybe I should have made it a bit of a different shape. I just feel like something could be improved. I just can't quite pinpoint what it is. But just like in general, the whole thing I actually think looks quite good. This is very clearly a monster. This is, although it doesn't look perfect, clearly an umbrella. Now, I did also add this, just because I felt like I had to really emphasize the radioactiveness a bit more, and the green just absolutely screams radioactive, right? If you see something with a green glow, you know that is radioactive. So yeah, I think this looks pretty good, which means all I had to do was add it to the game, and as you can see, here we go. We now have both the worm and the monster in the actual game, which means I've added a radioactive monster with an umbrella into the game. And so we can go and check this off as completed, giving us another 15 coins. And now I gotta be completely honest, I don't think I want any of these things. Like, I don't think I'm going to be making a platformer. I don't think I'm going to be making enemies. I don't think I'm going to be making obstacles. And I also just don't think we need a health system. So I'm completely fine with just waiting 5 minutes and just letting it reset. So I'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, the shop is reset and we have levers and buttons, environment collisions, vertical movement, and horizontal movement. Okay, I gotta say, this is literally the perfect shop. I couldn't have asked for something better. Like, these two are literally what I was hoping to get, because it allows us to make a player that can move around like a laboratory, for example. Levers and buttons, I think, fits really well as well with the laboratory theme, and environment collisions is just a really good one to get in general. So this is perfect. I want literally all of these, but let's start by buying both vertical movement and horizontal movement. It doesn't really matter in which order we buy, so let's just buy horizontal movement. Here we go. Which gets replaced with a crafting system, which is also really good with like the laboratory thing, because it means we can combine like different things together. That is also so good. My luck is going crazy right now. But let's just first buy vertical movement, so we have both, which gets replaced by a shop slot. My God. Okay, it clearly worked. Like, me hoping for good luck at the very start, it worked. My prayers have been answered. This is perfect. I couldn't have hoped for better luck. And this one is 5 as well, and we have 5 coins. I can immediately buy this, which gives us pathfinding. That's also something I would have wanted. And we also get enemy shooting. Okay, it couldn't last forever. But still, like, my luck with this shop was insane. So yeah, we definitely need more coins, because zero's not going to do it. I need all of these things. So yeah, let's just go draw another card. And it's going to be, the game has to look terrible. No! We went from the best luck ever to literally the worst card in the entire game. I have been dreading getting this card. Oh no, I'm gonna have to redo all the art. I was so happy with it. I knew that something bad had to come when I was just getting the best stuff ever in the shop. Okay, I mean, there's nothing I can do, right? I just have to take this, which means I have to make an ugly game. The literal bane of my existence. But 20 coins is nice still. I'm glad that it gave me like a decent amount of coins. But yeah, I hate this card. But at least that does allow us to buy stuff from the shop. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy environment collisions, which is as a sound effect, which I don't necessarily need. And although I can buy levers and buttons now because I have 10 coins, I think I'm going to try to get another 10 so I can buy the crafting system, because that would work really well with the laboratory theme, and I think would just generally form like the basis of the entire game. But yeah, because I have to buy this, I think we just have to go and draw another card. Game must include a dumb frog wearing glasses. Okay, I think that's literally the most straightforward one I've ever gotten. Although, by the way, I have no idea how I'm going to draw it, because it has to look terrible, but it still needs to be recognizably a frog. It needs to be wearing glasses, and I need to make it dumb somehow. Okay, this might be even more difficult than I thought it would be, but I think I could make this. Alright, well, I only really have one thing left to do, which is make a dumb frog wearing glasses and make it look terrible somehow. So, wish me luck. Okay, I want to start by saying that this was my genuine first attempt at making an ugly frog. And don't laugh at me, it's so good, right? That's stupid. Like, I tried making this ugly. This was me making something as ugly as I could, and it just looks like a normal freaking frog. Like, even compared to these, like, it's just missing some shading. Like, that's the only real difference. And yeah, the details in the legs aren't that great, but like, this is not a bad looking frog. And the thing is, I actually oh, sorry, by the way, I made glasses. Yeah. But like, I genuinely struggled. Like, here's like the progression, right? I tried making it uglier, it still looked a bit too good. I tried making it uglier, and eventually I landed on this, which does look very ugly. So I honestly, I struggled with this, which I didn't expect. Like, I knew it was going to be difficult, but I thought it was going to be like mentally difficult, not like actually physically difficult to make these things ugly. But yeah, with the glasses as well, this is very clearly an ugly frog wearing glasses. But anyway, I think this is going to be the final result after a lot of tries. It does look very ugly, and it is recognizably a frog. Now, I also, of course, have these two guys, and I had to also make ugly versions of these. So here is my ugly worm. Yeah. It is ugly. I tried just spending as little effort as I could, because putting in too much effort, I just make things look way too good, and just spending as little effort as I can, yeah, it looks bad. It looks as if this is the first pixel art thing that someone has drawn, which is kind of exactly what I was going for. Now, the monster was a little bit more difficult, because of course it's a bit of a more complex shape, so I drew this, which, I mean, it's very simple. It's like one of the first things that someone has ever drawn in pixel art, and also I had to, of course, add the green glow as well, which you can see is also, like, very bad, but that's the point, I guess. I don't like doing this. I really don't. I prefer this. I love the way this guy looks, but like, I have to. So yeah, this will give you a bit of an idea of what the game is going to look like, and I'm not looking forward to it. But I really don't have a choice. So here they are in the actual game. They look absolutely horrific. I hate it so much. But I guess we did add a dumb frog with glasses, because I mean, look at this and tell me that that's not a dumb frog with glasses. You can't, because it is. Which means we can go and check this off as completed, giving us another 15 coins. And I think I'm just going to immediately buy crafting system, because that is definitely the one I want to get. And that gives us environment art. Okay, that I think was literally the last one I was really still hoping for, because this is pretty much all the game mechanics that I really need for the idea that I currently have with the laboratory and the money, like making that lab tycoon type game. And environment art is just so that we're allowed to make the lab environment. So yeah, that's perfect. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another card, and then with the coins that I get from that, I'm going to go ahead and buy environment art, and at that point we can just go and actually make the game, I think. So yeah, let's definitely go ahead and do that. All sound effects have to be made with your mic. Reward 15 coins. Okay, so that fits in perfectly with the whole vibe of the game. I mean, honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to have sound effects to begin with, but if I am going to have sound effects, this fits just perfectly with that. So yeah, but we'll definitely take that for sure. And with the coins we got from that, we now have 20, which means I can go ahead and buy environment art. There we go, which gives us an inventory system, which I could see being useful, but I don't think we need that per se. So for now, I think I'm just going to focus on these things and make like a very simple prototype of the game. So let's go do that. Alright, so here's the first thing I made, and it's incredibly simple. Basically, these are like stations that produce certain potions, for lack of a better word. So if I now interact with them, you can see I turned red. And if I were to have interacted with this one, you turn blue. I currently don't have a way to like uninteract with something, so currently nothing happens. Sorry, I feel like I need a bit more to properly explain the concept. Give me a couple minutes. Okay, so that did not take a couple minutes. That took like an hour, but I do think I can explain it more properly now. You can see here, if I pick up this red thing from the red station and bring it to this mixer, you can see that I've placed it in the first mixer slot. If I do the same with blue and I also get another red, it mixes together into this like purplish color. And so the idea is that you mix different colors together to create new colors or new potions, and you then sell those for money. So for example, this one would have been worth like $50 or whatever. And you can even put those back into the mixer. So if you want to combine that with like red and blue to see what color you get, probably brown, oh, it's like a grayish color. And this would then be worth even more than what we had before. So it's basically just a continuous cycle of mixing different potions together to create new potions. And then you sell those potions to customers or like something. You sell them in a way. I don't know how yet. But more importantly, that money isn't useless because you can use it to upgrade everything that you use. For example, let's say this one produces a red potion every 5 seconds. You can spend some money to reduce that to like 3 seconds. And like, for example, currently the mixer is instantaneous, or not instantaneous, but it takes like a second. In the actual game, it will take like 5 seconds for these potions to mix, and you can spend some money to reduce that time as well. But like, that still sounds a bit boring. So I want to give the player the ability to automate this entire process. So if you've earned like a ton of money making potions, you can make it even more efficient and earn even more money by automating the mixing process. And here's like a quick showcase of how that would work. As you can see right now, I've got something that I can place down. This would be like a station, for example, and this is a pipe, and I can also move this and place this all around. And so the idea is that I would create a pipe from the station to the mixer like this. Now currently this mixer doesn't work with that, nor does this station, but the idea is that then the station would produce a certain potion and would automatically transport it to the mixer, which would then turn it into different potions, so that you don't have to manually bring everything from the station to the mixer. And it took me a couple of hours, but here's how that would work. Like, let's create a little pipeline from this station to that mixer. As you can see, the blue went into there. If we now also connect the yellow one to that same pipe and the red one as well, you can see that it automatically mixes into this new color, which we can then pick up and use however we like. For example, we can add it to this mixer as well, or we can sell it, like whatever we want to do. And now, as you can see, this one is continually automatically producing this new color without us having to do really anything. Now, of course, this isn't going to be cheap. Like, these pipes are going to be really expensive. And of course, if you want to buy new stations as well, because you have to place those, that is also not going to be cheap. But the more expensive stations producing the more expensive potions will of course also give you more money. So like, that's pretty much the game loop. I'm pretty happy with it. It's not the most unique or interesting thing, but I think it could genuinely be really fun. But what we have to do right now is the opposite of fun, which is we have to add art to all of these. So we have to make art for the stations, for the different potions, for the mixers, for the pipes, and that is going to be a literal nightmare. But I'm afraid we don't have a choice, so let's go make some art. Alright, and here's the art I made, and I gotta say, I think I did a good job because it truly looks like someone who literally just started drawing. Literally all of them look like, oh yeah, I've just discovered the act of drawing and I drew this. I hate it, but like, at least it's kind of uniform in a way, which doesn't mentally hurt me as much as everything being completely different. But yeah, so this is probably the most important thing I drew. It's like the default potion flask thingy. So this is what all our potions are going to look like with just a different color inside. This is going to be the station. So this is where all the potions get brewed. And these are all the different kinds of mixers. So you've got the 2 mixer, 3, 4, 5. And it's very simple. Like this mixes 2 things together, this mixes 3, and so on and so on. And I do think it is clear enough that this mixes stuff together. Like clearly you need to input 2 things and it outputs a single other thing. So it does like do a good job of visually explaining what you need to do. And I also think the same goes for this thing, which if you had to guess, you'd probably say this is a place having to do with money, right? And it is. It is the sell desk. Basically it means that this is where you go to sell the potions that you make. And I think it's very clear with the $sign here that that is what you are here to do. And so I think all of these things do a pretty good job at visually telling you what their function is, which is just mostly a bit of a compromise for me because I wasn't allowed to spend effort on literally anything else, so I at least tried to think through their design a little. But yeah, so let's go and put this into the actual game. Okay, so this is basically what we already had, but with art, and as you can see, we can pick things up, we can put them there. I do think these like potions look decent. Like they don't look good, don't get me wrong, but they are like very clearly potions. Like it's clear that this is potions that we're brewing with some kind of liquid in them. Oh, and also I forgot to mention I added this like outline to everything, so when you get close to it and you can interact with something, you see a white outline to like tell you you can interact with this thing, which I think is just a little nice touch. So yeah, I don't think it looks good by any means, but I do think that it's very good at visually communicating what everything means, which is basically all that I was able to do. So yeah, but I'm happy that it worked at least. But obviously right now we don't have nearly enough things in the actual game, so let's go add some more things to it. Starting with something that I already explained, which is the desk. Now, how this works is fairly simple. I already basically explained it. When you brew something and pick it up and bring it to the desk, you can interact with it to sell it. As you can see, we just got $21. And I also added this money counter to just keep track of what we earn. You can also sell the base components, but they aren't worth as much. So the whole gameplay loop basically becomes brewing as many potions as you can and then selling those for a profit. But of course currently this is incredibly boring because there are only 2 stations and they only produce the same 2 elements that I can then always sell for $21, and that's just not interesting. So let's go add some more stations so that we can get different colors and brew different kinds of potions. Okay, so adding new stations really wasn't all that difficult. As you can see here, we now have a yellow station and a green one. And to make those work, I literally have to change a single number. So like, that's not difficult to do, but like right now, the game isn't all that more interesting. Like we just have more colors to work with, but it's still the same boring game. So what I want to do instead is give the player the opportunity to place these things themselves. So when they earn enough money, they can go to a certain shopkeeper and then buy one of these stations and put them wherever they like. So if they really want green because it's very valuable, they can buy loads of green stations. Or if they really want red, they can buy loads of red ones. So we're not restricting the player to only using specific stations that we've pre-placed for them. The only problem with this is that currently I don't own the shop feature, so I'm not allowed to add a shop, which means we have to go back into the game and draw some more cards to get some more features. Okay, so here we are back in the game again, and as you can see, here is the shop feature. However, I didn't just get randomly lucky with this. I've actually been working on the game for like 8 hours at this point, and I would routinely check whether or not we got the in-game shop feature, because I knew that that was the last one I really wanted. So like, this wasn't luck. I just checked and checked and checked, and this time we finally got it. It is 20 coins, however, so it is very expensive, which means we do have to draw another card because we only have 10 right now. So let's just go draw that card. The player isn't allowed to die. Okay, great. I mean, I wasn't planning to let the player die anyway. There's not really a die condition in the game. So yeah, that's perfect. I mean, I gotta be honest, these two were kind of just gimmies because I wasn't planning to have either one of those in the actual game. But I won't say no to free coins, so yeah, we'll take that for sure. Okay, so we now have 30 coins and we can easily go ahead and buy the in-game shop feature. There we go. And that gets replaced with an extra shop slot. Now, I might as well buy this. I don't plan on really buying anything else, but there's no harm in it. Okay, so we have obstacle art and player sprite. Now, I will be honest, I'm tempted to buy player sprite because currently, obviously, we just have like a square as our player, and I do think that works, but maybe it is better to just have like a proper player sprite. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna buy it just to be sure, but I'm not sure if we're actually going to make a player sprite. But it's just nice to have, you know, it's nice to be able to make a player sprite. Although, I gotta be honest, anything that I make will be much, much worse than the literal square we have right now. Anyway, for now, let's focus on adding a shop to the game. Okay, so because we hadn't actually implemented the creatures we made before, I decided I was going to make the worm one of the shopkeepers. As you can see in the game, when you walk up to the worm, you can buy different potion stations. And I thought that made sense because he's kind of got that thing going on. So when you're just playing the game and you feel like you need an extra one of these potion stations, you can go to the worm, press E, and then you've got all of these things to choose from. Now these two you obviously already have, but you don't start with any of these other ones, so you need to buy those from worm to get them. And the way you do that is by obviously first earning money, and then you can walk up to worm, choose one of these buttons, let's choose yellow for example, and you'll get this. And now you can place this wherever you like. Let's put it like right there, for example. You can see we just lost $100. This will now slowly, very, very slowly produce yellow. As you can see there, it just popped up, and we can take that and put it in the mixer or do whatever else we want with it. But let's say we now really want to buy green. We can just buy green, put that there. Let's say we really want this one, then obviously we need to earn more money. And that's kind of like the cycle of the game. You buy different colors to earn more money, so you can buy different colors to earn more money, and so on and so on and so on. But of course, that's only when you want to do the work yourself. Like if you want to do everything manually, that would be indeed the game. But I didn't spend 5 hours on a pipe system for nothing. So let's make it so that the player can actually lay down pipes and automate this entire process. Okay, so I decided to do the same thing as I did with the worm, but for the monster instead this time. So there we go. And so this guy is now also a shopkeeper that you can walk up to, interact with, and there you can see there's loads of different things that you can buy from this guy. So you can buy a pipe for $15. You can buy all the different mixers for all different prices, but also very importantly, you can choose to remove all pipes and remove just literally everything. So if we click this right now, you can see that everything just disappears. And the reason for that is because it was way too complicated to let the player choose which things to remove and which to keep, because that just caused a bunch of problems. So now if you want to change your layout, you have to either remove everything or remove nothing. But besides those two things, all of this basically functions exactly like I've already shown you. You can buy things from the shop, you can place those down, and with the pipe specifically, you can keep placing it until you don't want to anymore. And now you can also see that if we go here and click remove all pipes, it removes all the different pipes that we have. So now we can rewire everything to go to this one, for example, instead of the one we had originally. And so that's kind of the game loop of the entire game. Earn money by selling potions, and automate that process further by adding pipes, adding new mixers, and adding new stations with different colors. And so right now we pretty much have a game, except there's one more thing that I really want to add, which is the ability to upgrade individual stations. So for example, this one currently takes 15 seconds to brew one single yellow potion, and that's a long time. So I want you to be able to reduce that time by spending a little bit of money. And for that, I added the upgrade button. And the way this button works is if we press it, there you can see all of the different stations and mixers get this little menu above their head, which shows how long they currently take to do their job and how long it would take after an upgrade and the price for that upgrade. So let's go back to that yellow station. Currently takes 15 seconds. If we buy an upgrade, you can see it's reduced to 13.5. Do it again and again and again and again and again. Now it's only 8 seconds. However, although I just mentioned that the game is nearly finished, there is one crucial thing missing, which is of course the frog. Currently, there is no frog to be found in the entire game, so let's go and add it. And there you go. I'm just going to put you right there. And that looks absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's not the worst thing ever. I'd actually go ahead and say that it looks kind of cute there. I think the frog fits behind the desk, which I think means we have everything and the game is officially finished. Now, I'll be honest, I'm actually fairly happy with how the whole game turned out. Now, of course, it looks like absolute hot garbage, and I hated every second of making art for it, but because I wasn't allowed to make it look good, I instead spent the energy that I normally spent on art on just making the game, adding features and coming up with the gameplay, designing the game loop and all of that stuff, and I actually really enjoyed that process. It was fun to just for once focus fully on the gameplay, and I'm really pleased with how that all turned out. Is it a perfect game? No, absolutely not. It has a ton of balancing issues, but as just like a little fun tycoon game, it's actually pretty good. But of course, I'm incredibly biased, so I'd love to know what you think of it. There's a link in the description. You can go just play it, tell me what you think, leave a comment with your critiques, or maybe what you thought was good or bad. Please don't comment on the art. I know it's bad, you know it's bad, we don't have to have that discussion, but everything else is on the table. For now though, if you enjoyed watching this video, consider giving it a like, or not, that is completely up to you. And if you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing. For now though, thank you so much for watching. I know these videos have been a bit longer lately, but I do appreciate you getting all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.